So I don't know how long they're separated for. I don't really know much about it, but all I know is I would have been pissed.
All right, Serena, let's talk about Pantene. Tell me about it, and why do you use the Pro V formula?
Let's do it. I have the bottles here. Look, I matched the bottles today. Isn't this cute?
Wow, what a great color scheme. It works for you.
I know, I love it. It looks so cute in my shower. No, I love it. I feel like hair health has become such a priority for me this past year, just because my lifestyle has changed and my hair routine has become more intense with the amount of heat that I put on it. I mean, you can tell this is not my natural hair. This definitely took a little heat this morning. So for me, focusing on something that kind of strengthens and repairs my hair, strengthens bonds, repairs damage, has just been like the highlight in all my hair products. And Pantene's Pro V formula does that. I mean, that's what they do. And I feel like when I'm recommending things to my friends, they don't always want to spend like $50 on hair care, and neither do I really. So being able to get kind of like that luxury hair care experience while, not paying $50 is the goal, right? And
yes,
this Pantene Pro V formula offers that. So hopefully you can tell. Hopefully the hair looks good.
Your hair always looks good. Your hair always looks good. How often do you wash your hair? I feel like that's a hot button issue that everyone has their own take on.
I feel like it's different depending on your hair texture. So for me, because I have really curly hair, I find, especially when I'm wearing it natural, you don't see it get oily as fast. I also feel like during the pandemic, everyone was trying to like not wash their hair as much because it like reduces the amount of oil production, or like your hair gets used to it. So I try to go for like 2 times a week is the goal. So like if I do my hair today, like what day is it today? Wednesday, I'll probably wash it on like Sunday, or I'll like throw a baseball hat on or something. But I condition it almost every single time I shower, wet my hair, just because I really want to get like that hydration, that moisture.
Okay, good to know. What would you say the most common beauty question you are asked is?
Probably my hair care and my skincare routine. I mean, like it's taken a lot to get my skin like this. I've definitely like worked with the dermatologist and played around with my skincare routine a lot over the years. So I'm very grateful whenever anyone asks me about my skincare routine, because it's been a journey to have clear skin. So whenever anyone compliments me on it, it's like such a huge compliment. And then I'm very lucky to have inherited my mom's very curly hair. And I feel like it's such a transformation when I go from like waves to my natural hair. So people are always asking me. I also feel like in Bachelor Nation, there's not as many people with naturally curly hair, or maybe there are and they just aren't wearing it naturally curly. So I think that kind of like representation leads to a lot of questions about like, well, what do you do? What's your hair care routine?
That's so interesting. Well, to kind of transition into that, is there any way to keep your hair nice in paradise?
Oh my gosh, it's a struggle for sure. It's so funny. I was looking back at old photos yesterday from my time in Paradise because I was feeling nostalgic after the premiere. And there's this one photo of Joe and I on our first date, the wrestling date. And you can just tell the humidity is getting to my hair. It is so frizzy, but I think I gave up on using any heat products really on my hair and just embraced the natural curls. I felt like it was beachy and it worked and it was easy. I was tired and hot. I didn't want to be using a flat iron on my hair every day. So I think just leaning into whatever your natural hair is probably the best advice I can give anyone that's living in Mexico for the month.
And I mean, in a good way, your partner, the person you're dating on the show, gets to see the natural hair, the natural makeup sweating off. That's a good thing, I think.
Exactly. You know what? By the end, I was barely doing my hair and makeup. Like, I think it was maybe a little concealer in the morning and obviously washing my hair. But I'm like, hey, you're seeing the real me. Like, there's going to be no surprises when we get off of this. Whereas I feel like on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, I was a lot more done up every time I saw the lead.
You had plenty of time to get it together.
Oh yeah, there's not as much in Paradise.
No, it has been over a year since you guys got engaged and about a year since we kind of saw it. Does it feel like it's gone quickly? Does it feel like you were on the beach a while ago? Do you feel like it was yesterday? Where do you guys stand on that?
Both. I feel like it was yesterday. And I also feel like so much has happened like when I watch Paradise back, it does feel like, oh my gosh, like I remember it so clearly. And I remember this time last year, our season was almost about to wrap at this time last year, but Joe and I have really just so much has happened in our lives over the past year, not just us getting engaged, but us moving and having our engagement party. So it's really kind of come full circle now, watching it again and just reflecting on the year that we've had and seeing like how much has happened in the past year.
You guys did just have an engagement party a few weeks ago. Was it a part of you that you just wanted to like make sure you took that time to enjoy the engagement part? Was that part of that versus like the marriage part that you're going to be asked about by me in a couple minutes, I'm sure all day, about like the wedding part? Was that like something for you and for both of you to prioritize the engagement stage, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think it was a mix of a couple different things. We definitely had said after we got engaged, we were interested in doing an engagement party. It wasn't necessarily something that we were like, we have to do this, because obviously we were engaged for a year before we celebrated. But I know that we wanted to get our family and friends together, and that was kind of the best way to go about it. Our parents actually met at the engagement party, Joe's parents and my parents, and my family was able to meet some of his friends and vice versa. So it was really more about the coming together of our two worlds. And it was more, it was a good reason to bring everyone together, was celebrating our engagement so that people were meeting before the wedding. And I think we kind of went back and forth on it, but I'm so glad we did it. I definitely, for any couples that get engaged this year, would recommend doing something like that, just because it made it feel, I don't want to say more real, because it always felt real, but it just was like a nice way to kick off going into wedding planning.
Yeah. How'd it go? Like, what is it like introducing your family to fiance versus boyfriend and then them meeting each other? Like, that is different, like starting off from the get-go.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I obviously have a great relationship with his family already and him with my family, but getting our parents to get to meet each other, it was really exciting. They were supposed to meet in the spring and something came up and it wasn't able to work out. So just saying like, hey, this is my fiance's family and the people that raised him and vice versa. And they were so looking forward to meeting each other, and it went really well. Joe's dad is hilarious and his mom is a sweetheart, and they got along with my parents great. We were able to do dinner lunch the next day all together. So definitely got some of that quality family time, which was nice.
We obviously see so many Bachelor couples come and go. There's pressure of everyone asking, where's this? Like, can I see your ring in that photo, this or that? Does that pressure get to you? And were you always confident that you guys were going to like leave the beach and like, obviously every relationship has whatever, but like that you were going to be at this point a year later, it's celebrating the engagement still, ready to start wedding planning? Like, did you know you were going to get here? And like, does the pressure of people asking you about it bother you?
Yeah, I think we did always know we were going to get here. I think the most crucial time is right after the show. At least for us going into it, we were like, this is kind of the first test, right? We know we love each other. We see a future together, but right after the show, spending that time in the outside world, like, is there that compatibility? Could we live together and not want to kill each other kind of thing? So after that initial transition went so smoothly, there was really nothing but confidence in the future of our relationship. And we always knew we were going to end up getting married, really. But I don't think it ever really bothered us, people asking about it, maybe because we did have that confidence that it never felt like pressure or like it was forcing us to rush anything. We also just feel confident that, people are going to ask and that's okay, but then we just have to do what's best for our relationship.
And you did move in together. You chose New York, right?
Yes.
I know there was the big debate about Chicago, Toronto, New York, or
I know that was the question for sure.
That was the question. Yeah. What has it been like living together? Was it a seamless transition, or was it easy for you guys?
Yeah, it was really easy. I feel like we kind of already lived together, even though we didn't, because I did have like things at his place in Chicago and we did spend a lot of our time there together. But it's not fully living together. I mean, the 2-closet definitely was an adjustment, and New York apartments are a little smaller than what a Chicago apartment was, but we've made it work and we love living together. I mean, yeah, we're lucky with how smooth it was. I think we're very prepared for it.
I've asked Joe so many times over the last year about the status of wedding planning, and I think he's trolling me at this point because he just says something to say it because he doesn't know the answer.
It to everyone. It's not just you. Like at our engagement party, people were telling me that we were getting married at this month next year, and I was like, oh, that's news to me.
He just like said, and I get it. It's a lot to be asked, and he just wants to have an answer. But I'm asking you. I feel like you might be able to give me a little bit more clarity, Serena. What is the status of wedding planning? Do you have a date? Do you have a dream date? Do you have have-nots, must-haves? What's happening with this wedding?
Okay, this is a very common question from you, from our families at this point. People want to know. So right now we are hoping for next September. Considering we haven't started planning, obviously we have to be a little flexible in terms of venues and such, what's available, but we would love to get married next September. We definitely want to get married next year. That's a pretty like set thing. So whether that's, maybe August or October, but next year. And it's going to be somewhere in the US that's probably not Toronto or Chicago. We just like to make it kind of destination for everyone. And we just want it to be a fun weekend. I have to start looking at wedding planners. That's actually on my written to-do list for next week. So hopefully I'll have a wedding planner soon. If you know any, I'm open to suggestions. And then I think I'm just very overwhelmed by the planning process. Also, after we planned an engagement party for 3 months, I just wanted a month off of all of that and to focus on work and everything. But now I'm ready to full speed ahead into wedding planning. And I think the wedding planner is really going to help me just kind of focus on what I need to do, because I've obviously never planned a wedding before.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I would imagine Joe, I don't know him that well, obviously, but would imagine he's going to let you make most of the decisions on this one. You know what?
Joe will start off saying whatever you want, but he is an opinionated guy. Okay. He has a vision for the wedding for sure. So I think it's actually going to be very 50-50. I wanted to feel like our wedding, not my wedding. And if anything, I would say he's probably more opinionated than I am about this stuff.
Okay, Joe. So
all right. It'll be a team effort.
And what about the hair, makeup, dress? Do you have any vision for that? Or are you just going to have to one day, start trying stuff on? Or do you have the dream that you thought you've always wanted?
No, I feel like my approach to my wedding is similar to the ring. Like I had no preference on what he picked. I kind of had I was just like, whatever you feel like is me. And I just want that for our wedding. I want our wedding to feel like us as a couple.
Did you watch the premiere of Paradise last night?
I did. We watched it live.
Well, Jesse did say who's going to be the next Joe and Serena at one point was the question. Do you have an early pick for who the next Joe and Serena will be?
Oh my gosh. I don't think there'll be another Joe and Serena. I mean, just like we were different than every other couple, these couples are going to form their own love stories and their own identity. I also don't think what went down with us could maybe ever go down with anyone on this season.
We hope that that's true. Maybe let's avoid that for other people.
We had a unique storyline, but I mean, some early standouts I think we saw last night are Brendan and Serene, who their first combo really did kind of remind me of Joe and my first combo, where they were just so giggly, so nervous, but so smitten with each other right off the bat. And that just warmed my heart to see. And then Teddy and Andrew were the first date. I know on my season, Abigail and Noah were the first date of Paradise, and they're still together today doing great. So those are kind of the early standouts. But I would say Brendan and Serene's conversation felt the most similar to mine and Joe's first conversation.
I would agree with that. There's this upcoming twist that, from my understanding, is going to separate the existing couples with new arrivals, kind of like a Casa Amor Love Island, for those familiar with that. What do you think of that? What do you think a test like that would have affected your and Joe's relationship? Would you think that would have been fun, torturous? What do you think of that?
As a viewer, I think it's going to be really fun and exciting to watch because it's something different that we haven't seen before, meaning it's going to bring new challenges, new drama, maybe new love stories. As a past contestant, I would have hated that concept. I would have been so frustrated because I'm assuming that they're going to wait a little bit into the season to separate them.
Right.
And for me, I was pretty set on Joe early on. He was set on me. And my only goal was to further our relationship and get to know each other and get to a place where we could leave together. So I don't know how long they're separated for. I don't really know much about it, but all I know is I would have been pissed off. I would have been like, my whole point here is to hang out with Joe and he's in another villa in some part of Puerto Vallarta.
I know it's going to be good TV, but I definitely think it's going to bring out maybe the worst in some of the couples we're probably rooting for, which again, good TV, but I would imagine, yes, as a contestant, not fun to go through.
No, not fun to go through. We got separated for one night on our season because of the storm.
Oh, yeah.
And that was already stressful enough, not knowing when we were going to see each other, and it ended up being temporary, thankfully. And we got to sleep in AC in a comfy bed for the night. But anything more than a night, I would have been like, let's just go and date in the outside world at this point. You know, I'm here to spend time with you. And if I can't do that, then I don't really want to be here.
Did any of the contestants before going on reach out to you? Were you surprised by any of the people who we've seen on the beach so far?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't think any of them reached out to me. We ran into Genevieve and Jill when we were at Audrey's coffee.
Oh, Ashley and Jared.
Ashley and Jared's coffee shop. And they came when we were doing our meet and greet. So I actually got to meet them, but it was post filming. So it was more about like, how are you doing now that filming's over? How are you feeling about the show airing? I don't think there was any major surprises from the cast. I mean, they obviously released the cast in advance, so we didn't get to see who was coming, but ending with Victoria Fuller coming down, I'm very excited to see her journey on the beach. I think it's great to see her back, and she brings amazing television, and I think she'll be an awesome addition to this season.
Well, we'll circle back to Pantene in one second. I did just want to ask you real quick about the Bachelorette finale. Did you enjoy this crazy 2-lead season and that wild AFR with drama, or were you like ready to wash your hands of whatever that was?
You know what? I did like the 2-lead season for some reasons, mostly because it was new and something we never seen before. And having been a contestant on the show, getting to watch something that's a little more unpredictable for me definitely made it more exciting. And it just, again, brought new challenges and brought kind of new life to the show. However, I don't think I would want to see it again. My main issue with it was you didn't really get to know the relationships as well because there was just so many of them. So by the end, I was like, wait a second, I don't really know any of these relationships that well. And then they kind of did a good job of unraveling it. But I'm so happy for Gabby and Eric, and I'm happy for Rachel too. I'm sorry that it didn't end probably the way she hoped, but I think it all worked out for the best.
Yeah. Are you going to watch Zach?
I mean, I probably will. I always say I'm not going to, but then Joe does clickbait.
Yeah.
He watches it for clickbait, and then it's just a show that's more fun to watch with someone else. So I end up watching with him.
And he likes to drop like 1 or 2 live tweets with like a bomb and then walk away from Twitter. I feel like he likes to just like throw it out there and be like, and I'll be back next week. We're not going to follow up that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you go, but is there anything else you want to tell me about Pantene and hair care or anything like that?
No, I think we kind of covered it all in the beginning in terms of why I love the Pro-V formula and what it does for my hair and why I would recommend it to my friends. So yeah, that's kind of it on my end.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was really fun. And I feel like I got a lot of answers that I don't get from Joe. No shade, Joe.
I know, he's a lot more vague than I am.
He is. And I understand he has to do a lot of this and he does clickbait, but I'm like, Joe, give me the clickbait. Okay, we gotta go back and forth here. Help each other.
I know. Next time I'll just jump on and be like, this is his answer.
Thank you very much.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.